When my wife said divorce for the 27th time, she didn't think I was listening. She never did. But the day I hit the $25 million jackpot, I finally said the one word she never expected. Okay. And then I walked out, with the money, the silence, and every ounce of self-respect she thought I'd lost. This isn't a story about winning the lottery. It's about what happens when a man stops begging to be loved and starts remembering who he is. Before we start, subscribe to the channel and tell me, what would you do if the person who broke you came crawling back after you rebuilt without them? She said divorce like it was a threat I'd never call. Like it was her favorite card in a losing hand she was too proud to fold. And for 3 years, I let her throw it down. Every argument, every sigh, every moment I didn't fall perfectly in line. Maybe we're just not compatible. Maybe we should call it, she'd mutter, staring over her wine glass like a woman already imagining herself in another kitchen, in another life. At first, I begged, like an idiot. Like a man raised on the lie that love means staying no matter what. By year 2, I stopped reacting. Just nodded, finished my dinner, did the dishes. She'd simmered down eventually. She always did. But year 3 broke something in me. Something quiet and final. The kind of break you don't notice until you go to reach for something. Comfort, forgiveness, hope. And it's not there anymore. It was a Wednesday night in June. The house smelled like old takeout and lemon Lysol. I'd just come in from a 14-hour shift and still had drywall dust in my ears. She was on the couch, scrolling Zillow like usual, looking at homes we couldn't afford in cities she had no reason to live in. We're wasting our lives here, Eli. I can't do this anymore. Maybe we should just get divorced. She didn't even look up. That time, I didn't argue. I didn't apologize. I didn't even sit down. I walked past her, straight to the kitchen counter, and picked up the lottery ticket I hadn't even remembered buying. It was a throwaway. Gas station impulse. I'd stopped for coffee on the way to work and grabbed it with my change, just to feel like luck still existed somewhere. Numbers matched, one after another. My hands started to shake before I even finished checking the last line. $25 million. I stood there for a long time, staring at that ticket, while my wife of 6 years complained to no one about how I didn't listen, didn't dream, didn't try. She thought I was making a sandwich. Instead, I was deciding to leave. She didn't even notice when I walked out the front door. Not that night. The next morning, I took the ticket to the state office and smiled the first real smile I'd had in a year. I opted for the lump sum payout. After taxes, it came out to just under $16 million. I didn't flinch. They asked if I wanted to remain anonymous. Absolutely. I took the check, opened 3 separate accounts, and transferred the money so fast my hands hurt. I left $2,000 in our joint account, just enough to make sure she wouldn't panic, but not enough for a lawyer. Then I made one phone call to a woman named Diane who I'd met at the bank last spring when we were trying to refinance the house. She'd slipped me her card after the meeting, her eyes too knowing. If you ever need someone who can help you protect yourself, call me. I called her. She picked up on the first ring. I need a divorce lawyer. Quiet, smart, mean as hell. She didn't ask for details, just gave me a name and a number. Said, congratulations, and hung up. I spent that night in a hotel across town. Ate dinner alone. Slept like a man who'd just cut off his own leg to escape a trap. When I went back to the house 3 days later, she was pacing the kitchen in pajama pants and full makeup. Where the hell have you been? Thinking. Thinking? About what? I slid the papers across the counter. Clean, crisp, notarized. You said you wanted a divorce. I'm agreeing. She stared at them like I'd slapped her. Are you serious? You've been threatening it for years. I figured I'd finally give you what you wanted. She blinked. I could almost see her calculating. We can work on this. We've been through worse. You're just tired. You always get weird when you're tired. I laughed. I'm not tired. I'm awake. For the first time in a long time. She followed me out to the porch. You're really leaving? Just like that. Just like that. What changed? I realized I don't owe my life to someone who sees me as disposable. She flinched. I hadn't raised my voice. I didn't have to. The truth does the damage for you. It took her a week to realize I wasn't bluffing. 2 more to figure out something big had happened. She went to the bank and came home pale. She texted me that night. You took the money. No, I earned it. This isn't fair. Neither was using love like leverage. She called. I let it ring. Called again. Left a voicemail sobbing about all the years we spent together, all the plans we'd made. I remembered the sound of her voice, bored and cold, saying, maybe we should just get divorced, over and over until it didn't even sting anymore. Now she wanted to reconsider. Too late. You can only burn the bridge so many times before the other person decides to build a plane. Funny thing is, I don't even care about the money. Not really. What mattered more was the silence. The way the air felt different when it didn't have to carry both our disappointments. The way my chest felt when I realized I'd rather be alone in truth than partnered in constant doubt. She used divorce like a weapon, so I handed it to her. Loaded, safety off, and walked away. I stayed gone. Now she wants me back, wants to talk, wants to work it out, says she made a mistake. But what do you say to someone who gambled with your heart every time they felt powerless and only came looking once they realized you'd stopped playing? She used to joke I was her steady Eddie. Unshakable, predictable, too dumb to leave. She was wrong. Turns out, I was just patient. And now I'm free. The first thing I did after I left was buy a watch. Not a flashy one, no diamonds, no logo, no statement. Just a solid, clean-faced piece of machinery. Quietly expensive, something that ticked only for me. I'd worn the same plastic digital one since college. She used to mock it. You look like a gas station clerk, she'd say, without even looking up from her phone. I kept it because it worked, because it did its job, because back then, I didn't think I deserved more than utility. The new one came in a velvet box. The salesman asked who it was for. Myself, I said. Finally, that became my quiet ritual, buying back the parts of myself I'd given up over time. A pair of shoes that didn't have glue holding the soles together. A hotel room that didn't smell like someone else's cigarettes. Real groceries. Fruit with color. A mattress I actually wanted to sleep on. It wasn't about the money. It was about the silence that came with it. No one asking where the receipt was. No one sighing about another unnecessary expense. No one tracking my spending like it was a moral test. The silence was worth more than the jackpot. By mid-July, she'd started texting me again. I miss you. This is all happening so fast. Can we at least talk? The first few, I ignored. Then came the guilt. You're throwing away 6 years. We were building something. I was scared, that's all. People say things they don't mean. But that was the problem. She always meant them in the moment. It was my job to forget, to pretend it didn't hurt, to be the man who absorbed it all without flinching. She'd get cruel, then sweet, dismissive, then needy, weapon, then bandage. I finally texted back. We're divorced. There's nothing left to talk about. She called me 3 minutes later. Elia, I'm not angry, I said. I just don't want to go back to living in a house where love came with conditions. You blindsided me, she whispered. You didn't even try to fix it. I did. For years. You just never noticed. She hung up. A week later, her sister called. Anna, the only one in her family who ever treated me like a human being. I heard what happened. I just want to say, good for you. Anna said, her voice low like it was a secret. She's always been reckless with people who love her. That stopped me cold. Reckless. No one had ever said it that plainly. She wasn't evil. She wasn't cruel for the sake of cruelty. But she threw people away like they'd always come back. Because they always did. Until I didn't. She's spiraling. Anna continued. She keeps saying you won the lottery and ran. I did, I said. Just not the way she means. There was a pause. Then, quietly. You don't have to explain it to me. 3 days after that call, I drove past the old house. I don't know why. Curiosity, maybe. Nostalgia in disguise. Or just the need to see it one last time and feel nothing. The porch light was broken, still. The one I'd been meaning to fix for 6 months before I left. Her car was gone. Probably at her mother's. Or a friend's. I sat in the car across the street and stared at the window that used to be mine. She'd moved the curtains. Swapped them out for something sheer and white. A blank slate. I should have felt something. But all I felt was distance. We'd fought in that room. We'd celebrated birthdays and burned dinners and made promises in that room. And now it wasn't mine anymore. I drove away before I could get sentimental. You don't grieve what you escaped from. In August, she left a voicemail. She was crying. Not the performative kind. The kind you don't want anyone to hear. I'm sorry, Eli. I really am. I pushed too hard. Everything scared me. And I thought if I left first, I wouldn't have to feel abandoned. But you were the only thing that ever felt safe. And now you're just gone. Click. I didn't save the message. Didn't delete it, either. I just let it live in the limbo where things go when they're no longer yours to fix. People assume revenge means burning the other person's life down. But sometimes, the real revenge is walking away with peace. Sometimes it's not picking up the phone. Sometimes it's letting them sit in the echo of their own words. Sometimes it's being happy without needing them to know it. I didn't gloat. Didn't rub the money in her face. Didn't send postcards from Paris or buy a billboard with my new watch on it. I just disappeared. And in that silence, I finally heard myself again. It started with a knock. 3 months to the day since I left. I'd moved into a condo on the north side. Quiet building. Older tenants. Nobody asking questions. The kind of place where healing didn't need a soundtrack. Just clean floors and warm light and space to think. I was folding laundry when I heard it. 3 sharp knocks. Not the delivery guy. Not a neighbor. I opened the door. And there she was. Hair curled. Full face of makeup. Jacket too thin for October. She dressed for nostalgia. Eli, she said like it was a question. Like she wasn't sure if she still had the right to say my name. I didn't move. I just want to talk. I held the door, didn't invite her in. Boundaries. Something new I'd learned to keep. She sat in the lobby instead, on one of those stiff vinyl couches that smell like cleaning spray and old carpet. I've been seeing a therapist, she said, eyes darting. She says I have patterns, that I weaponize fear, that I push people before they can leave me. I said nothing. I didn't mean to threaten you. I thought if I made you afraid of losing me, you'd try harder. Still, I said nothing. She looked around the lobby like she was searching for warmth in the drywall. You always tried. I just didn't see it. Not until you stopped. My silence wasn't revenge. It was restraint. I made a mistake, she whispered. And I don't want money. I don't want anything from you. I just want to undo it. Undo it. Like marriage was a Word document. Like the damage could be backspaced if the apology was soft enough. That's when I finally spoke. You said divorce over 20 times in our marriage. You said it in front of my friends. In front of your mother. At my birthday dinner. Once during sex. She winced. I remember all of them. You don't. Because for you, it was just punctuation. A scare tactic. A way to stay in control. She opened her mouth to protest. I didn't let her. I begged you to stay once. You called me pathetic. I tried to explain how I felt. And you said, you're being dramatic. I tried to talk to you about money, about our future, and you rolled your eyes like I was ruining the mood. She looked like a child then. Small. Ashamed. You didn't lose me, Jules. You let me go. The lobby was quiet. An old man shuffled past with a bag of groceries and a nod. You look different, she said. I feel different. You're calmer. Stronger. That's what happens when you stop begging for crumbs. She flinched. I miss you, she said. I missed me more. She asked if we could try again. Said we could take it slow. Therapy. Vacations. Date nights. A fresh start. I told her the truth. There's no way back. Only through. And I've already walked through. She looked at me like I was a painting hung crooked on a wall. Familiar, but not quite the same. But you're rich now. There it was. The real thing behind the softness. The subtext breaking through like wrought under paint. You think I'd come back because I'm rich? No, she said quickly. I meant you could have any life you want. And we could build something real. This time. With the right tools. I smiled then. Not kind. Not cruel. Just sad. We had real. You turned it into leverage. Now I've got peace. And peace is expensive. I'm not trading it back for hope. She left with her shoulders tight, the way they used to get after a fight she didn't win. I watched her cross the street and vanish behind tinted glass. She thought walking away would hurt me. But some exits feel like exhale. 2 weeks later, she posted a photo on social media. A quote over a sunset. Sometimes we only realize what we had when it's too late. Her friends commented with hearts. One said, he'll come back if it's meant to be. I didn't like it. Didn't message. Didn't watch her stories. Some love isn't meant to be mourned. It's meant to be outgrown. I wasn't angry anymore. That was the real win. No need to punish her. No petty revenge. No rumors or receipts. Because nothing unsettles someone like the realization that your world kept spinning without them. She wanted closure. But closure isn't a conversation. It's a decision. And I'd already made mine. It started with our mutual friend Matt. "Hey man, weird question," he said over the phone, dragging out the words like he wasn't sure if he should say them. "Did you leave Jules because you met someone else?" I laughed. Sharp. Flat. No amusement in it. No. Because that's what she's saying. To people. That you ghosted after the money hit. Said it made you cold. I let the silence answer. "She's rewriting it, Eli. You know how she gets." I did. I knew exactly how she got. First came the victim mask. Then the story bending. Then the subtle little slashes she called honesty. Things like, "He just changed. He's different now. The money made him mean. He never really loved me. I was scared, and he punished me for it." At first, I didn't care. Let her talk. Let her play. But then came the podcast. A friend from her yoga studio had a relationship podcast, 2 mics, low lighting, fake empathy. She went on as a guest expert about sudden wealth and abandonment trauma. They never used my name. But they didn't have to. "He changed overnight," she said, voice shaky, calculated. "He became cold, distant, like I was just a phase he outgrew. And I know we weren't perfect, but I supported him when he was struggling. And then he just left. With everything." It wasn't lies. Not exactly. Just omissions. Reversals. Weaponized vagueness. I watched the clip go semi-viral among women who'd been dumped by rich men. The comments filled with sympathy. "You deserve better, queen. He was intimidated by your strength. A man with money will always show you who he really is." Funny. No one asked what she did with my heart before there was money to take. The legal letter came a week later. Not a lawsuit. A suggestion. Her new attorney, someone I'd never heard of, sent a formal note recommending amicable reconsideration of shared marital property, citing post-separation earnings and emotional damages. It was wrapped in lawyer speak. But the message was plain. "We think you owe her a slice of the jackpot." I read it twice, laughed once, and called my lawyer. "You expected this?" she asked. "I expected worse. Let me tell you what I didn't do. I didn't call her to scream. Didn't post screenshots of her threats from last year. Didn't drag her through the mud in front of her followers. Instead, I compiled everything. The texts, the voicemails, the divorce filings, the prenup. Yes, we had one. Her idea, ironically, back when she thought she'd be the breadwinner. My lawyer, Natalie, smiled the way wolves do before they chase. "This won't go anywhere," she said. "But if she keeps pushing, we'll push back." I nodded. Quietly. Always. Then came the part one didn't expect. She showed up to my mother's church. It was a Sunday morning. I wasn't even there. But Mom called me afterward, her voice tight with confusion. She came to service, Eli, sat in the back, cried during the last hymn, told the pastor she's praying for reconciliation. I closed my eyes. She told me she misses family, that you changed, that she didn't know how to reach you anymore. I wanted to scream. Instead, I whispered, "She's performing, Mom. For pity. For witnesses. So she can say she tried." My mother paused. "She's better at this than I thought." "No," I said. "She's just more desperate than we realized." That night, I drove. Not to her. To the hills past the city, where the noise fell off and the lights got soft. I sat in the truck and asked myself the real question. Was I mad? No. I was done. That's different. She was staging a comeback tour. A campaign of rebranding herself as the woman scorned, abandoned by the man who let money go to his head. But I didn't need to fight it. Because people who really knew me didn't ask questions. They watched. They remembered. They counted how many times she used the word divorce, like it was a match to be struck. And they watched me hold the water bucket until I finally let it drop. 2 weeks after the church stunt, she texted again. "Can we talk? Please. Just 10 minutes. In person. No lawyers." I sent one line. "This isn't a story you get to rewrite just because the ending made you uncomfortable." She hasn't messaged since. But I know better. Silence isn't surrender, it's strategy. And when someone's made performance a lifestyle, every quiet phase is just a scene change. She'll try again. But next time, I'll be even farther away. Not out of fear, but because peace tastes better when you don't have to explain it. It's been a year, 12 months since I walked out of that kitchen with her voice still echoing in the hallway. 12 months since I signed the papers and turned, maybe we should get divorced, into a reality she never expected to taste. People ask if I'm happy now. Like that's the metric. Like you can measure healing with a smile. No, I'm not happy. Not all the time. But I'm honest. I sleep at night. I eat without a lump in my throat. I don't brace every time my phone rings. I don't live under the threat of being left for doing something human, disagreeing, disappointing, dreaming too small. And that's more than happiness. That's relief. She lost the sympathy game. The podcast stopped calling. The yoga friend moved on to interviewing women with prettier breakdowns. Turns out, people don't like their martyrs to be complicated. The legal pressure dried up after Natalie sent a quiet, blistering rebuttal, prenup attached, timeline annotated. Jules didn't respond. I know she's still out there. I see pieces of her sometimes, a tagged post at a wine bar, a blurry photo from someone's birthday. Still beautiful, still sharp. But the sadness she wears now isn't performative. It clings to her, the way consequences do when no one's left to blame. I got a letter in October. Handwritten. Unmistakably hers. I almost didn't open it. But curiosity's a powerful thing when you're finally safe. It wasn't an apology. Not really. It was regret, wrapped in nostalgia. She talked about our early days. The apartment with the slanted floor. The time we got lost in Denver and ended up eating gas station sandwiches by the river. She said she remembered me reading to her when she was sick, holding her hair after too much wine, showing up to her work party in a wrinkled shirt and the wrong shoes just because she asked. I didn't know how to love without control, she wrote. And by the time I realized what I'd done, you were already out of reach. I folded the letter once, set it on fire in a metal bowl on my balcony, watched it curl into ash. Some memories don't belong in boxes. I'm dating now. Slowly. Quietly. Not to replace her. Not to win. But because I still believe in connection. Even after all that. The difference is, I know what to watch for now. The sighs disguised as suggestions. The compliments with a hook in the middle. The way someone makes you feel small and calls it being honest. I'm not bitter. I'm just awake. And the next time someone says, I love you, I'll pay more attention to how they treat me before they say it. My favorite part of the day is 6:43 a.m. That's when the light comes through my bedroom window in a perfect line across the floor. I make my coffee. 2 sugars. Real cream. No arguments. No performance. No silent war in the next room. Just me. Breathing. She used divorce like a weapon. So I gave it to her. She thought it would scare me. She didn't expect I'd aim it gently and leave. I didn't win. This wasn't a game. But I got out with my peace. And that peace didn't come from the money, or the silence, or even the freedom. It came from knowing that I will never again confuse love with endurance. So if you're asking yourself whether you should stay, ask a better question. Ask what staying is costing you. Ask what your soul would do with a little room to breathe. Ask what you'd become if you finally chose you. And when you ask, don't wait for someone else's permission. Just go. And don't look back. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.